Good afternoon. Today is Saturday, the 5th day of June, 2021. I have two things for you this evening. The first is in memory of Saint Boniface, who died on this day in the year 754. Boniface was born in England around 675, and his given name was Winfrid. He was one of the great figures in the annals of Christian mission, and he spent the first half of his life as a monk in England. About the age of 40, he was seized by missionary fervor. Anglo-Saxon by birth, he desired to convey the gospel to the Saxon people who were still outside the church. From the Pope, he received a commission to go forth to Germany to those people who are still in the bonds of infidelity, to teach them the service of the kingdom of God by persuasion of the truth in the name of Christ, the Lord our God. Boniface traveled widely in Hesse and Thuringia and soon achieved extraordinary results. Before long, he was writing back to the English people, asking for their prayers in the conversion of those who are of one blood and bone with you. He was eventually named Archbishop of Mainz. Though a skilled administrator, his heart remained set on spreading the gospel. Nearing the age of 80, he received permission to leave his cathedral in the hands of an assistant and to return to Frisia, his original mission field. There, with a group of followers, he was attacked and brutally killed on June 5th, 754. According to his biographer, these are his dying words. This is that very day we have long dreamed of. That moment of freedom that we have yearned for is right here. So be heroic in the Lord, and suffer this royal grace of his will gladly. Keep your trust in the Lord, and he will set your souls free. Now that the Easter cycle of festivals, including the Feast of the Holy Trinity last Sunday, we are entering a season where we hear about the kingdom of God and many of the parables that Jesus taught. And so I have a short essay by Fred Buechner, one of my favorite authors, from one of his books entitled Telling the Truth. This extract is called Catching by Surprise. What is the kingdom of God? Jesus does not speak of a reorganization of society as a political possibility or of the doctrine of salvation as a doctrine. He speaks of what it is like to find a diamond ring that you thought you'd lost forever. He speaks of what it is like to win the Irish sweepstakes. He suggests rather than spells out. He evokes rather than explains. He catches by surprise. He does not let the homiletic seams show. He is sometimes cryptic, sometimes obscure, sometimes irreverent, always provocative. He tells stories. He speaks in parables. And though we have approached these parables reverentially all these many years and have heard them expounded as grave and reverent vehicles of holy truth, I suspect that many, if not all of them, were originally not grave at all, but were antic, comic, often more than just a little shocking. I suspect that Jesus spoke many of his parables as a kind of sad and holy joke, and that may be part of why he seemed reluctant to explain them, because if you have to explain a joke, you might as well save your breath. I don't mean jokes for the joke's sake, of course. I don't mean the kind of godly jest the preacher starts his sermons with to warm people up and show them that despite his Geneva tabs or cassock, he can laugh with the rest of them and is as human as everybody else. I mean the kind of joke Jesus told when he said it is harder for a rich person to enter paradise than for a Mercedes to get through a revolving door. Harder for a rich person to enter paradise than for Nelson Rockefeller to get through the night deposit slot of the First National City Bank. And then added that though for man it is impossible, for God all things are possible, because God is the master of the impossible. And he is a master of the impossible because in terms of what man thinks possible, he is in the end a wild and impossible God. It seems to me that more often than not, the parables can be read as high and holy jokes about God and about man and about the gospel itself, as the highest and holiest joke of them all. I wish you a happy evening.